everyone, welcome to the second part of this page from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. My book, I've got a copy of Lost Ocean underneath this page because it's so near the back. Now we're going to do this mushroom first today, and then maybe some of the flowers. I haven't quite planned to be on that. We'll see how far we get. Let's just move the book around a little so this mushroom is sort of in the middle. We can probably come in a tad closer. There we go. Now what colour? Well, with our spots on our mushroom, I often think that I want to do it red with white spots. I think I might do that. I could do it blue just to make it really different, or purple, but I think I'm just going to go for the old red. It's quite a nice way to do it. So we're going to start though with a very dark red colour, which is the Indian red, so a little bit different to maybe the scarlets and things that we're used to seeing on these mushrooms, just for a bit of a change really. So let's give it a sharpen. I've just had my lunch, which was rather good. It was only toast dipped in olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I really should start having a bit more salady veg and things like that with my lunch, but by the time I just don't seem to do it. I need to get into the habit. There isn't an excuse. I was going to make an excuse. There isn't an excuse. I need to start doing it. Maybe just, you know, do a different thing each day. Maybe carrot sticks one day, pepper sticks another day. I really ought to start doing it. Anyway, let's colour. So I'm sort of, you can see what I'm doing. I'm sort of going up the mushroom a little bit, trying to avoid the circles. Now it really at the moment just looks like I've put a line across there and a pale bit there. That is what I've done. What I need to do now is get in here and just extend that up a little bit so that we've got more of a fade. It can just be a matter of fiddle-faddling a little bit, layering up in some areas and not others, and things like that. There we go. It's quite sunny now. I'm not supposed to have sunshine today, but we have. But it's cool. It's really funny because yesterday we were so... yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. We were... day before, can't remember. We were so... yeah, day before yesterday we were so hot. We had every window door open that we could in the house. It was very breezy. Could we get the house cool? No. But today... yesterday we got the house cool dark red because it did cool down, and I kept everything open and got lots of cool air in because the house takes a lot of cooling down. And today we haven't had to really open it up very much because it's just cool. I'm just sharpening this a bit, you know, it's just cool, which is same temperature as yesterday, but because the temperature of the house has dropped, it just feels, you know, we don't need to open things up. But I do tend to shut the curtains against the sun a little bit, but just to keep, you know, because in the UK our glass in our windows is called K glass. I think most people have this nowadays with modern windows. And what K glass is designed to do is to warm the room up when you have the slightest bit of sun. Now in the winter, we're going to just put a little bit further up like this. In the winter that's brilliant, so it saves you a lot of money on your heating. In the summer, not so much. It's not really working in our favour then, is it? Right, we have the deep scarlet red. I have been sorting through my pencils and seeing what I need to replace. And things like that. These Polychromos, some are getting very short, and I made a little list, went through them, looked through my box of spares. Some of them I had a spare so I could replace, some of them I didn't. This one, oh, there is a spare. It's that big. Sometimes I keep the teeny ones because I think if I run it down completely, I have got a tiny backup. But I've sort of got rid of some of them that are just too small to hold really, or sharpen. If they're too small to sharpen, it doesn't seem point keeping them. And I know people use pencil extenders, they glue them to the end of other pencils and things like that. Yeah, that can happen, that can be done as well. But when I'm making a video, I like to be able to show you the pencil name in the camera, and so I really need one that's bigger than a certain size, if you know what I mean. So I tend to replace them maybe a little bit earlier than other people might, but anyway, I've got a list of what I need. There we go. Oh, just trying to keep it, you know, lighten it a bit so our last bit is lighter. I think it always, you could just do it a solid red, and there's nothing wrong, it's not a mistake. I just like to do it a little bit differently. Now what I've done is probably wrong with regards to light and shade, because this part is being shadowed by this. So really, if we were thinking properly about where the light is, this side would be much darker from the shadow if the sun was coming from above, which in this one it looks like it is because it's lighter on the top. But also the colour could just be the colour of the mushroom / toadstool. You know, it doesn't have to be that it's to do with the light. So it can be really tricky. I'm thinking about the light and things. I tend to keep it really simple and just sort of assume the light is coming from above and not worry about it very much. Yeah, why should, you know, keep it easy. There we go. Now I'm not sure what to do with these circles. Now they don't overlap the mushroom, they don't come out of the side, which means that they aren't three-dimensional, or else we would see the rest of this, a little bit of this coming out there, wouldn't we? So I don't need to put some shadow under them, which I do sometimes. I'm going to use this colour to do this one. I've decided I'm just going to keep it this lighter colour. I think it'll look nice just in a pale colour, but I might change my mind once it's there. We'll find out in a minute. So I'm not sure. I could still keep them white, but just not make them 3D. I find white quite difficult to colour. I have a little think. I just colour this bit in. There we go. Maybe I'll do a little bit of brown on them. Yeah, that was a deep thought, wasn't it? It sounded hard work, it was. So I've got some nougat. I'm going to put this in the middle or the bottom. I'll do it in the middle of the circle like this. Do you see how faint that is? Just a really light rub. Like that. Now on our little one, we're not going to be able to do that because it's too small. So now I have to put a bit more of an obvious sort of dot or bit of colour in that one. Then I'm going to get another colour. I'm going to get my ivory and just colour them with this. This is yeah, ivory. You need to sharpen it. It's blunt. This is actually, I think this is a brand new one. Yeah, I switched this one out. So we're just gonna colour the whole thing, so it's sort of burnish that brownish colour, and it will look, because the paper, I think the paper's slightly cream, slightly ivory, but not as much as this pencil. You can see the difference just looking there. There's a bit of red on that one. Pretend it's not there. No one saw. And I'm going to go back to that nougat, but do a little bit darker here. we're going to do the sort of gill part. We've got one on this little one and the big one. On the big one I'm going to do it like I did on this one. So going along the black line and then fading in a sort of upward direction. Like this. And we'll just work our way along. They're quite narrow, so it's not really easy. Just do the best you can. But I quite like the fact that it's the same colour, so it's similar-ish. I just finished a crossword while I was having my lunch. My one son was helping me a tiny bit and then he wanted to rush off and get on with the game he was playing. My other son was talking to my husband about AI. My husband's absolutely obsessed with AI at the moment, and I can't say as I find it the least bit interesting, I'm afraid. I'm going to make this really pale, like I did the spots, like that, but a little bit darker on the edges. I'm not pressing mega hard, I just want a little bit there. That's it. And I'm going to finish that off with the ivory. And he's trying to find, what he's actually experimenting with is trying to find a way to protect artwork from AI being able to use it as training data. This is nougat. So basically he's giving the AI, say, a book of a certain artist's work. You know, he's using like, I don't know, Rembrandt or whatever it might be. And then seeing whether it can reproduce a picture in that style. He showed me what it did. It looked just awful. But anyway, then he's going to try and use a piece of software that's designed for putting some sort of watermark into the work to stop it being copied and see what happens. So he's basically trying to see which is most effective. I have to say, I saw some of one of Johanna Basford's pictures in an AI generated image. It was so obviously based on something of hers. And within that batch that I was looking at, I also found, I think it was a Maria Trolle ivory picture. I didn't even look. Very different to one of hers, but it was a company, I'm not going to name them because I have reported it to Johanna's publisher and the company to say, look, do you realise this? And so if they can satisfactorily resolve the issue, because it might just be something they're not totally aware is happening, then I won't be cross with them, if you know what I mean. But last time I contacted them and said, I don't like these AI images you're using, they denied they were using AI. I'm sorry, but I can tell. Right, we are going to do the door. We're going to use the Van Dyke brown because I think it's a similar-ish shade to these sort of browns that grey browns that we've been using. I'm going to use it lightly to start with. So we'll see what they come back with. They said it would take them a week to investigate it and that they took plagiarism really seriously and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if you do, then why are you not checking? So we'll find out what happens. I'm going to go around the edge a bit darker. Can you see? It looks like a little shadow. And the same on this side, I think, because I want the whole door frame to look like it's shadowing and that the door is slightly set back into the frame, which is how I think it would be. But I also think there might be some shadow this side of the door frame and around the window frame there where they're sort of sticking out. So I'm going to actually draw that in very carefully as well. Wondering, I quite like the idea of doing this on the other mushroom around this door, so I think I'm going to, let's get this window done first, like that. Yeah, I'm going to put it around this door. will just give that frame a slightly more three-dimensional look. Should have thought about it when I did it originally, but it doesn't matter. I didn't do the doorstep. How many of you noticed? Well done if you did. There we go. So we'll do that doorstep in a minute, but let's go back to here. I'm getting myself distracted going back and forth, and it might be a little bit discombobulating. So we've still got this Van Dyke brown, doing a little bit more work on the door. Now that bit on the edge is my darkest bit, but I still want to darken these sort of lines a little bit, but I'm not making them as defined as around the door. And I'm thinking I might put a little bit of shadow underneath the hinge and the handle. Now I'm trying to decide what colour to do the frame. So I don't want to, I quite like our muted, but I don't want it to be red. You know, I was thinking I could do it red like the, you know, like let's go with the nougat, but we can just put it on a little bit heavier. Let's try that. So not too deep, just so that it looks darker than what we've used on sort of this edge or whatever. And the same on the window frame. There we go. Now if it was a bit thicker we could do what we did on this one. I feel it's a little, particularly the door frame, it's just going to spoil. I'm just going to leave it. But I want to do inside the window. I'm going to use, I'm going to experiment. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to use a little bit of green gold just around the edge to try and look a bit shadowy, to try and set that glass back from the frame. It looks like the frame, oh, is sticking out a little, and then the center of it I'm going to do in the Naples yellow. Nice and bright and welcoming. Then our hinge and door handle, I was thinking I'd do in a metal, but I think I'm going to go for a cold grey so we can give it that shiny metallic silvery sort of look. So I'm going to start here and fade, okay, and then start down in this bottom and leave a sort of white bit in the middle so that it looks like there's some shine on there. Nice shiny hinges and handle. There we go. Now around this toadstool we have grass and leaves, and I think we should go with different greens. So 2 greens, one for grass, one for leaves, and different greens from here. Now, I think we use the permanent green. I'm just trying to check. Yes, so we will steer away from that and the leaf green, which is very similar. So let's use this one. This is the chromium green opaque, and we use this for the leaves. I do need to sharpen it a little. There we go. I am going to do the same technique where they're darker down here, the base, lighter as we go up to the tip, like that. Don't be afraid to work a good few layers. The paper can take it. Just don't push down really hard, because you might dent the paper. It's better to layer it. And if you're using pens, don't layer. They'll go through. It's always wise to test them on the colour palette test page at the back anyway. But I've tried to do this sort of effect with a fine liner pen before, where I put down one layer in some places on 2 or 3 in others to give it a different look. And although it worked, it went through the page. But also I tried it, this is earth green yellowish, just giving it a sharpen. I also tried it with blending. So I took a red and a yellow pen and I put a bit of red here and then got my yellow and pulled it across a bit, and it did blend, but it shredded the paper. Earth green yellowish. So that wasn't that wasn't ideal. So it's quite difficult. I think if you're going to blend, try to blend pens, I think you need to use I've seen it done very well with alcohol markers. Whoa! But of course they go right through the page immediately. So if you were going to do alcohol markers, say in this book, I'm going to do, there's a little bit of grass down here at the bottom, I'm going to do in this same colour. So yes, if you were going to do alcohol markers in this book, you would need to buy 2 copies and just ruin the one on the back, and you would need to use plenty of paper behind the page, potentially even some sort of waterproof membrane. If I'm using a water-based or oil-based medium on my page, I actually use a laminate behind the page. There's some grass in here. Can you see? I'm going to do this. Yeah, you can see it. Just checking before I get carried. Actually, some all the way up here. Hang about. We're going to actually move a little bit. We'll move here because there's all this. Oh, there's that as well. There we go. So hopefully, and now you can't see that bit. Oh dear. Let's start down here. Yeah, so I use a laminate. We're fortunate enough to have a laminator, and you just push a blank laminate through. You can put a piece of paper in between it, but I just use a clear one, and push a clear laminate through and seal it, and then you can use it behind your page. Right, let's now move this down so it's all in. This is the top one. Yeah, we can see. Just checking that you can see it all, but I'm not doing anything too difficult. Just there we go. Yeah, so I'm always really extra cautious, and I've got a piece of paper behind this page, as you can see, and change it regularly. It still doesn't give total protection. I do have a page in my old book, obviously this is my new book, so it's got no pages that have been done, where I did a purple background on a page, and even though I put a piece of paper between when I coloured directly on the back, it still marked the other page as I coloured. I think the only way to prevent that happening is to use a single-sided paper and colour the book in order. But it's actually, if you colour the book in order, yeah, you'd still get it happening. When you coloured the left-hand side of the page, the thing on the back will transfer. So it's always going to happen. But it's just a matter of trying to protect your book. We're going to move again. Here up the top here, can you see these? Now what I'm trying to do is avoid doing the ones that are part of this plant, because I would probably do those in a different green, but we just do all the grasses. But if I forget some, I will probably remember what pen I used. Now we have a dilemma here on this one. Can you see the grass and the leaf are both drawn in? So we can either choose to colour the leaf or the grass. I'm going to colour the grass, and then I might choose, I think that's better. That's fine. I think basically these lines here needed to have been erased. You could erase it yourself using a white pen, but I think it's gonna look worse. I think it being coloured over is fine. Did you see Johanna posted fairly recently that she'd made a little mistake in her. I'm assuming it was inklings that she was drawing for, because it was an A4 size, not A4, A5 size page. So because her big books are square, Inklings, her new book, one of her new books, there's many, is rectangular rather than square, and this was a rectangular page, and she had basically drawn a shelf with something overhanging like this, a little V shape, and when she'd done the line, she'd done it wrong and she'd redrawn it. And so she'd drawn a little arrow pointing to it, so that when she goes into her editing software, she can just erase that little tiny mistake. Like here again, we've got a line going through the grass. I don't think it matters, but you know, if you wanted perfection, you would, I guess if it's in front of the grass, it's okay. So maybe it is okay. But anyway, I'd never know what Johanna's intentions are, so we just colour with what she's drawn and enjoy it. But in some books, there's a little arrow left behind where she forgot to make the change. I've seen one in, just going up there. I've seen one in, I'm going to do these 3 leaves here. Can you see these 3? There's a few other leaves that look a bit like this around, but what I've decided, they're actually the leaf of this plant here. I might do them. Let's just start. Let's stop dithering and just make a start. I'm going to use the juniper green to start with on these leaves. I'm going to use this central part as a guide, as it appears on all of them. Then colour down here, and then I'm going to just sort of fade it off a little bit here, like that. I'm going to do the same on this one and this one. Yes, she the one I saw, she had not only forgotten to remove the arrow, she'd forgotten to erase the mistake. I thought it was quite funny. But what is a little strange is that her editor doesn't notice either. But I guess unless you're actually colouring the picture, maybe you wouldn't see it. Now I'm going to use the earth green, and I'm going to see whether I can make this work and how it will look. So we're just going to colour all the rest of the leaf with earth green and over the top of what we've done in juniper, and see how it sits. It might look absolutely weird and ridiculous, and we might decide to, I might decide, or you might decide to do something completely different. But I'm hoping that it's going to work and just look interesting. Yeah, I'm okay with it looking like this because I know what I'm going to do next. Okay, and then this one, same way. But I wonder how many times she makes a little mistake and how many times she forgets to do it. You know. So what I'm doing next, I'm going to add a little pink touch to the leaf. Pinkish? Well, ish. I'm going to use the Caput Mortuum Violet. I feel that this goes really well with this juniper earth green mix, and I haven't done this for a while. On the side where we've just got the earth green, just put a bit of pink like that. So start at the top here and go around each of these little curved parts like that, and then just scumble it in. So basically do this circular movement and get lighter and lighter like that. So you've just got an interesting looking leaf. You don't have to copy this. It's just one way that I do leaves. I think it can be fun to have your own sort of little signature leafy styles. Now, I think these 3 leaves are the same as these here, which are barely in shot, and there's a couple there and a few there. Oh, and there's some at the top and one there. Okay, so we've got a few other sets to do. Whoops. So let's go here so we can perfect the technique as we go from set to set. Ooh. So these are the leaves of these daisies. So we're back to our juniper green. So just the same as before, put a nice defined line just below that central vein, and then just gently circle your pencil and reduce how many layers you're putting on until you get almost to the tip. You can go all the way to the tip of here or leave a white bit. I've left a white bit. It doesn't matter. You've got to blend in the earth green anyway. And we're just going to do the same all the way through our sets of leaves. And it's just a bit different. And I think mixing some other colours that aren't green in with leaves is rather fun. And if you look at leaves, they often have other colours in too. Probably not this. I've missed that bit of grass. So let's just grab the earth green yellowish and just do that one. I bet you didn't miss it. Like I said, you know, Johanna misses things. I miss things. We all miss things. It's okay. Maybe you're probably not so busy yapping as me while you're colouring. That's my excuse. But I think some people don't talk in colouring videos. They just colour and put some music on. But I am all right watching those. But I prefer someone who tells me what they're doing, which is what I try and do. And then, but of course, I can't keep telling you because I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So here's the earth green. We're doing the same as last time, so just going right over the whole leaf with this. Yeah, I can't keep telling you every leaf that's the same, so that's why I just yap on a bit. And I always figure if you don't like it, you can mute. You can play your own music if you wish. Someone did once, it was quite an interesting comment I had once, someone saying they really liked the music I was playing in the background. They must have had some sort of other app running with music on, because it was nothing to do with me. If I make a short, I put music on it, but my shorts aren't really for you guys. They're just for, because shorts are more of like a taster or you know, just a little quick thing. I do like little sped up videos of things I've coloured, that sort of thing. It's just to try and get people engaging and involved and looking and interested, that sort of thing. And so I put music on them just to try, because that's what you do with a short. I think it just attracts someone. I don't really know. It's terrible. I don't have sound on when I watch YouTube. I just put, if I'm watching, say, a podcast on YouTube, I might have the sound on, but then I don't watch it, so I listen to it just like it's. Or if I haven't got time to listen to the whole thing, I run it at double the speed and put the subtitles up. And then I read the subtitles and skip it along. Yeah. Because I, you know, try and find the bit that I'm interested in. But what annoys me is people who use these sort of clickbaity headlines for their podcast, and then you go in and they say nothing about it. Like I was listening to one the other day, and let's do our caput mortuum violet before we move on. So again, the same. Remember to do it on the, I mean, you don't have to do it this side, but I do it on the plainer side, this paler side, and then just scumble it across. The amount that you do, whether you make it thick and dark or just light or whatever, and how far across the leaf you take it, it's completely up to you. And really, you don't have to do it the same on every one, because leaves aren't the same as each other. So you don't really need to worry about them being identical, you know, because they wouldn't be, would they? In fact, I was watching some tips on how to make leaves more realistic. It's like never use just one colour, because leaves aren't just ever just one colour, which is a good point. Yeah, I don't know where that was. I picked up that, you know how it is, you pick up little tidbits here, there and everywhere. But anyway, back to podcast. Yes, it was very annoying. It had this sort of line saying how will something or other affect something. I was like, oh, I'd love to know that. I think it was something about Oh, I can't remember. I've gone blank. But anyway, I listened to it and they mentioned it twice in 2 passing sentences. I was like, this is not on. This is bad. Because here we go, these 3 here. So back to the juniper green. You see, I'm not telling you what to do now because you've done it so many times if you're following on. But I am telling you which colours I'm using just to remind you. Now, when I first started making videos, I would have perhaps not done all this in live video. I have made some where I would have done this in quick colouring, you know, sped up a little bit. Or now I'm doing my earth green, or just not done it on camera. But I know that people sort of like it done on camera, and I find that myself that if I'm watching someone who doesn't do it all, I forget how to do it and then I have to keep winding it back, and it's a bit annoying. So I try not to be annoying. I try not to make things annoying that annoy me, but you know, who's to know about everybody else? But you know, you have to go on what you find works, I think, and then hope that works for everyone else. So basically, I watch a number of different colouring tutorial videos, and I looked at what annoyed me in them and what I liked and what I didn't like. This is caput mortuum violet again, and used that as a guide for myself. So I didn't like it when the camera was too far away from what I was colouring. I could be a bit closer here, to be honest, but you know, I didn't like it when there was music in the background, when someone was talking, particularly because I wanted to not listen to the music and I couldn't because I wanted to listen to the talking. Whereas if it's just music and no talking, then you can mute the music. This is juniper green, and then it's okay. But if you want to hear the talking and there's music, ugh. I think I am rare because I don't particularly like music very much. I have to be in the mood. I like singing, and if there's a 1980s program on with music, this is earth green, and I'm in the mood, I can sit there and sing every word, because that's when I used to pop music, because that's when I used to listen to music. And I like musicals and things like that, but that sort of music, and I like watching The Masked Singer and Strictly, which has music, Strictly Come Dancing, but I don't want it on a video. I'm ultra fussy, I really, really am. So that's why mine are like this. And there we go. Now I'm going to use the caput mortuum violet again. We've got a couple more clumps of these to do, so it's all the same. It's nice and relaxing because you have to think too much now. You might have even got ahead of me. Let's hope I find them all, because you might be looking around going, where's the next bit? And you may have found some that I miss. That'd be embarrassing. But that's okay. It's not really embarrassing. I've just got to wipe my nose, sorry. Oh. Sorry. Right, we have some at the top. Oop. There we go. These ones here. Now you can, if you wish, it's just juniper green, have done them not the same. I did consider colouring all the leaves different, but then I had a couple of thoughts. Firstly, it's quite nice having the same little patches of colour, because Johanna's purposely drawn these leaves in certain places as if she wants some, as if it's sort of matching. So I figure she's laid it out so that it all matches. So if I colour them in the same way, then it will work with her idea, earth green, and she knows more about layouts and style and design than I do. So that was one thing. The other thing was that I might run out of colour combinations to show you, which would be a little bit and I get a little bit frustrated with trying to find all sorts of different colours to use, if you know what I mean. So that was what made me decide in the end I would bunch them up. And there aren't that many similar things apart from this. I don't think so anyway, apart from these particular leaves where there seems to be loads. But it's okay, I'm having fun. Now I often use this a bit of a red-ish colour. So this is the Caput Mortuum Violet, which is obviously a violet, but very plummy violet, I suppose you could say. I often use a bit of red on a leaf when I'm doing a blackberry leaf or a rose bush, because they actually do have a bit of red on them. Like on the tip of the thorn or the tip of the leaf, that sort of thing. Not like completely red, although I do that if I want a sort of autumnal look. That's a completely different idea, you know. Hey, we'll be going to do autumn soon. No, I know I'm not embracing the summer at all. Already looking forward to autumn. This is juniper green. I've decided that the way to get through the summer is to just think about the autumn. But I'll manage. It's just trying to make sure I look after everyone in the household. This page doesn't want to lie flat. It's because it's a new book. This is earth green and it's near the back and everything else. But anyway. Yes, all my family were unwell due to different... I think they either got overheated or dehydrated in this last heat wave. I didn't, but I always drink loads anyway. This is Caput Mortuum Violet. I think this might be our last little bit of this particular leaf type, but I'm going to stop and look because you're going, no, there's that one. Now this one is similar, but it's not the same. Yeah, I think that might be all of them. Yeah, I think so. Now, how are we doing for time? Now, what have we got leaf-wise? Flower-wise? We do have a set of leaves that are on their own. We've got that set there, which don't match anything else. But we also, whoops, just trying to bring the book down and across. These aren't like any others. I'm going to come in a bit closer and we're going to do these, and these will be our last little bit for today, I think. There is still a lot to do. I've just noticed a big smudge of pencil, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be doing a background. We could incorporate that smudge into our background, maybe. So what should we do with these? Well, I'm looking at my greens. I often think that Polly's have got a lot of greens, and then when I come to looking at them, we haven't really, because I barely use the blue greens very much. But I think what I'm going to do for these is try something a bit different. So I'm going to grab the hooker's green and I'm going to do a base of hooker's green. Now this is a base, so it's going to be pale because with Polychromos pencils you can't layer light on dark very well. If we were doing this with Polychromos, we could potentially make this quite dark and the Polychromos pencils could show up on top. No, Prismacolor, sorry, pencils could potentially show up on top of the dark. They aren't perfect, they're a bit better, but we're not. We're using these, so we're just going to use this as the background colour. Really gentle, and then we're going to use, now the hooker's green isn't as blue as some of the greens, the phthalo greens and the chrome oxide green fiery and the light phthalo green are very blue. The light phthalo green is a bit of a unique colour, it's lovely. So I don't tend to use them for leaves because I find they're not very realistic. I don't really find blue-green leaves very much. But as I say, the hookers isn't quite so blue. and we're just using it here for a little bit of a background, and then we'll put something else that I still haven't decided what on the top. It's good when she's got it all thought through, isn't it? On the fly. Always on the fly, never planned. Unless I coloured the whole page, I really couldn't plan. That's not particularly neat, but never mind. I'm going to use the chrome oxide green. It's really quite dark. I need to sharpen it, and I'll show you what we're doing. I think I did something similar to this the other day, but it might not have been on video. So we're going to do the stem like that, and the same as this one. Okay, now we're going to go back to this first leaf, and what we're going to do is do a darker bit here and then fade it a little bit. So we've just got a dark sort of base bit here, and then a bit less to there. Then we're going to come to here like this and take that up, sort of fade it into that section there. Okay, the same here. On this one, try to go right to the edge of that leaf, but you don't need to go right to the edge here because the vein doesn't go all the way to the edge, but here it's a good idea too. There we go. Just going to pull that up into a little triangle shape like that. Okay, so we've got a little bit of interest, different colour, possibly might make it look a little bit more textured in the sense of not quite so flat. I was looking at houses again yesterday because my neighbour's selling. I was looking for her details to go up, but they haven't yet. But I did something really silly. I just put in, like, within a 10-mile radius, what houses are there, and I found this like £9 million house. And I was looking at it, I was like, wow. But see, I was thinking about my wants for a house. You know, I want like a detached house with a sort of away from the road but near a canal, but not too far walking distance from shops, with so with bedrooms for 3 of us, so we could each have like a sort of suite, so a bedroom for me and husband, a walk-in wardrobe, and ensuite for the boys, a bedroom with a sort of computer area, and ensuite, everything air conditioned and heated so that it can all be the same temperature all year round, and not very much garden, thank you very much, and a sort of, you know, a room where you can have visitors and watch TV, but also like sort of a library, a craft room, offices, like loads of rooms. And then this thought came into my mind. It's like, who is going to clean all of these rooms? All of these rooms, who's going to clean them? And I was like, maybe it's not such a good idea. Right, I've grabbed my sanguine, and what I've decided to do is I want a little bit of colour around all the edge, and I'm just going to put it all the way around here, just on these tips. I just think it needs something a bit more interesting. Yeah, so that occurred to me, like, you know, that cleaning, you know, it's quite, I guess it doesn't take very long to clean here. Tidying is hard work. It'd be nice to have a lot more storage so things were sort of away. If everything had a place, it would be a lot easier to keep it tidy. In the kitchen, everything does, and so it's dead easy to tidy it, and the bathrooms mainly, everything does, and so that's good. And but in the other rooms, there's just stuff. Stuff. I'm sure you've got stuff. Now, I haven't done a lot of shadow with overlap of leaves, of anything really, but these are overlapping and I feel like I want to just put a little bit of shadow in just to acknowledge that there would be some shade. I was thinking of doing it in the dark green, but I think I want to go to a completely different colour. This is my dark sepia. Couldn't find a new one, so I've got to use the baby one. And just put a bit in under here. Now, yes, I know I could be using a pencil extender, but I'm only doing this little bit and I'll be fine. If I was using it for a large area, I would use one because I get cramp, but I'm only doing it here, just here, just to make it look like this one isn't flat and joined to those. Okay, and we can do a similar thing down here. Oops. Before we finish, we should be finishing soon. With this one, just here where these are overlapping, just a little bit there, and here, look, and maybe even around the flower, to be honest. There we go, a little bit in there. Now our toadstool houses, do you see the overlap here and here? So we can just do a little bit here. I still haven't done that step, have I? And then a bit there. I'm not going to do too much. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think we'll leave that now. What I'm going to do is actually just, sorry, the book is underneath my pencils. Okay, I just don't have time. I can't fit it under the camera otherwise. Right, let's come out. It doesn't look like we've done very much today, does it? Maybe we haven't, but there we go. Used a lot of time. So there we are. There is our next little bit. We're very squiff, aren't we? Hang on. Is that better? I think so. Yes, so there's the next little bit. I guess we have done quite a few leaves and things like that. I'm not sure where we're going tomorrow. I might get all the leaves done and then start some flowers. I guess we've just got leaves, flowers, hair, background. Yeah, it's quite a lot, isn't it? But anyway, that is me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.